Now, Angie, you know you my girl, but I'm going to come down here and tell the truth. Lisa had you looking pressed in this episode. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Bonnie Scotch. Thank you so much for clicking on my video today. I wanted to bring you a review for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 6 episode. Is it episode 4 or 5, y'all? Hold on, let me check. You know what it is? Andy Cohen keeps uploading his episodes of Watch What Happens Live to the Peacock app along with Salt Lake City. Like, he's trying to force it down our throats. You need to stop it, Andy. And that's why it's causing all this confusion every week that I get up here. I'm like, wait, what episode are we on? I'm gonna have it figured out by the time, I have to, post the video. Let's go ahead and just get into it. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button for me. When you hit the like button, it is a free way to support the channel and let YouTube know that I'm here and that you're rocking with my commentary. Don't forget to hit the hype button as well. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting. So y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I watched this episode last night before the rewatch this morning, I was so tired. I was so tired. I was out of it. I did not really enjoy this episode. Even on the second rewatch, it was just okay for me. It was just too much going on. I'm not really a huge fan of these scenes where the girls are just sitting down at a lunch table, having wine and eating and just arguing the whole time. I need, the scenery to be broken up a little bit. I need something else going on. Like, I hate that this was one big scene at a table. Like that. Just 42 minutes of arguing? Like, girl, I can't take that. Anyway, we start this episode with Whitney sending a bouquet of flowers to each of the women as an invite to like a kind of a spring party. It's a party about love, wine, sunshine, good vibes. Whitney's little song at the beginning and the end was so funny. She's just a silly person. So they're calling it Whitney's telepathic tasting. So all of the ladies show up. I really like Angie's leopard print mermaid dress. Y'all, that dress was so damn bad. So Angie comes into the party and she says, "This is my gift." And she put it underneath the table. And I said, okay, I know it's about to be some bullshit, Angie. So anyway, Bronwyn comes out with a floral jacket that looks like somebody got a bunch of flowers from Michael's from down to the Hobby Lobby and stuck it to a jacket. It very much looked like a craft project. I wasn't a big fan. Even the butterfly dress she had under it, it looked like something you could get from Doll's Kill for $21.99. I just wasn't a big fan of that. I didn't like that. This silver confessional look that Meredith had on, I said, yes, ma'am. I know that she's Jewish, but it was giving me like rich white Italian woman from the 90s, a little bit of Dr. Melfi from Sopranos tease, but like elevated, if she was like going to like a banquet or something. It was everything. I think that is the best that I have ever seen Meredith look. Whitney flew in a world-renowned spiritual intuitive. His name is Terrence Turner. Also, Mary's makeup in that all-black confessional with the silver chains, I was obsessed with her makeup. Like, I really got to look at Mary's face real good in this episode. I'm like, wow, Mary really is a beautiful woman. The girls are all getting readings except for Mary because Mary is Christian and she don't play that shit, okay? Now, I'm very particular when it comes to getting readings and who I let read me and all that kind of carrying on. I don't believe that readings are like a super casual thing. The last time I got a reading was like 2020 and I'm still going off of the notes of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. The thing is, when you're going to like a real spiritualist and they know your business, it's just like you don't want a whole bunch of people in your business like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that person really does have the gift of sight. Now, there are ways that you can definitely read reviews and see what people are saying about them. You should definitely do that before you turn yourself over in that way. Mary is so funny. She says she doesn't want to eat no tartare because she doesn't want little salmon babies hanging out in her stomach. Mary is absolutely insane. I just love her. So we have Angie trying to sell a house, and Britney is looking up the listing and saying how she's an agent and why didn't Angie just reach out to her about that. And it's like, Britney, I need you to be serious because Angie didn't even like you last year, and it gives me this year that she just tolerates you. Like, it just gives me that the girls tolerate you. So I don't know why you thought that Angie was gonna call you about a house. Brittany said that this house was listed a little high, and Angie said, well, you're from Bravo, I'm from blah 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 Heights, so you wouldn't know anything about that. And then the ladies are like, well, actually, if you live in blah blah blah, if you live in blah 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 park, it's the richest. But and so they start listing off all of these zip codes, and I just thought that that moment was so tea, where they were arguing about like who lives in the richest zip code. I didn't know that Brittany was into real estate, but she seems to be very knowledgeable about it. So Jared is calling Whitney, and Whitney is like, you told me that you were going to take a 30-day break from Jared, and in this 30-day break, she was supposed to be prioritizing Olivia. Brittany says, well, actually, we got back together. Y'all, it had not even been 24 hours. That man really has a hold on her, and I don't understand what it is, because it's not even like he treats her so special. Like, listen. I'm going to just be so real with y'all. We just going to have some real talk. There have been men that I knew that the way I was acting was not right behind them. I knew the way that I was moving, the way that I was feeling. I was like, something ain't right here. And even though maybe I wanted to be with them, whatever it was, I just knew I had to get out of it. Sometimes you got to pray these niggas up off you. Sometimes you have to pray these men up off you and out of your life. Brittany, I don't know what it's going to take. Tell me what it takes to let you go. Yo, shout out to Aerosmith, but she gonna have to figure it out, because listen. That's the thing too. Like, my thing is, I can't be out in the streets looking like a fool about a man. Like that's where I personally draw the line. Everybody else has a different line. My line is looking a motherfucking fool in the streets. Apparently, Jared went over to Whitney's house and was talking to Justin and saying to him that Brittany is just using me for trips and dinner and vacations and this and that. Excuse me? When I tell you this man is so disgusting to me for that, you know what I can't stand? I can't stand a motherfucker, especially a grown-ass man, who don't know how to play his motherfucking position. In this game of patriarchy, she's supposed to show up looking a certain way. Shout out to Erica De Niro TV. She's supposed to show up looking a certain way because beauty is her commodity and money is his. She's upholding her end of the bargain, and he's supposed to be doing the same and not complaining about it. You think I could be with a nigga who's sitting up and complaining about spending money on me? What the fuck he's supposed to be doing? Baby, he would have hit that road so motherfucking fast. Listen, I have my lines. I have my lines. I understand it's not so easy to get over a person, and you really got to move them out of your spirit and all of that. The thing about Brittany is that she has sacrificed her family, her children for patriarchy. And in the patriarchy deal, these men are supposed to be paying for the things and not complaining. So I don't understand. Now, did y'all notice that when Brittany was talking about Jared, the flowers came crashing down? Now, when it first happened, it was symbolic to me because I am a very woo-woo person. So they went and stood the flowers back up on the table. She's sitting there crying. The moment that she opens her mouth to start talking about Jared again, the flowers came crashing down again. And Bronwyn said, the winds of change don't want you to be with this man anymore. Now, before Bronwyn clocked anything, it was the first fall where I clocked it. I said, oh, there it goes right there. The energy about that man is not correct. If you just pay attention sometimes to the things that go on around you, you will know. Now, that doesn't mean to drive yourself crazy thinking that everything is a sign, because sometimes you do have to have a healthy detachment. When you pray for discernment and you pray for clear confirmation, you get what I'm saying? So that's a little bit of, spirituality, because like last week when I was talking about Bronwyn and her mother and how, you can have all of the protections in the world, but if your mother is coming against you, you can get touched. For people who have that issue in general, I learned that you have to pray to your ancestral mothers. Now, it's no shade to the girls, but that information was really geared to the blacks, okay, and the people of color who watch my channel. It's no shade to my Caucasian sisters. Y'all know that I love you down. But, you know, black people do have that. And, you know, indigenous people as well as Southeast Asians, we have that 1,000-year history of deifying our ancestors. So I just wanted to throw that out there, okay? To kind of heal that energy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry that I didn't get deeper into that last week, but in any case, let me get back to this. I'm soapboxing, child. So at this time, Meredith is saying that she has some concerns about Lisa and how they rebuilt their friendship, and said if there were any problems going forward, they would just handle it straight up. So Meredith asked her, I need to know if you were trying to spread negative rumors about me and my family. Lisa says no, of course. Lisa said, I've always come to you, so I don't know what this is about, but Satan looks like she might know. And she looks over to Angie. I said, here we go. Right off the bat with the name calling. Now, when Angie jump off in your ass, I don't want to hear no crying. So then Angie goes on to say, I'm not Satan. I don't work in the dark. I do my work in the light. I said, yes, ma'am, Angie. I loved that. That was everything. Whenever Meredith started yelling at the girls to stop going low, it looked like she was in so much pain. I don't know what Meredith did to her face, but I think she ought to stop now because her expressions look painful. So the tarot card reader is telling Bronwyn, why does brain keep coming up? So as you all remember, last week or the week before, we learned that Bronwyn's mom was struggling with a brain tumor and she went into remission. Now, in general, I'm very leery about, you know, people who bring health situations into readings unless you know for a fact that they really have the gift of sight like that and they can see into those things and give you a prescription. Like typically within ATR's African traditional religion, if you are going to a reader, you're going to somebody who's really like that. I'm talking about somebody who's really, really like that, okay? The real deal, somebody with the gift of sight, not one of these frauds that jump into your DMs with spam talking about, oh, your ancestors gave me a message for you. Listen, real readers are not jumping into your messages with shit, okay? They are soliciting you. I'm talking about somebody who is a real trusted individual in the community and they have that gift. They will be able to tell you what the ailment is, what the problem is, and they will be able to give you a prescription, whether it be like a bath or some herb or whatever it is that you got to incorporate into your situation, okay? So I don't like people digging up a problem and then they don't have a solution for you. That's not how that works, okay? It's so interesting getting into these conversations about African traditional religions when I'm covering a white show. So I know I have a lot of us watching these reviews, you know what I'm saying? So really when I talk about ATRs, like it's for us, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to make that clear because black people, indigenous people, Asian people, Southeast Asians, those are the people who have over 1,000 years of deifying their ancestors. So I'm just throwing that out there. That's a fact. That's a fact if you want a fact check. You know, we like facts and examples around here. Yeah, I just found that bit to be interesting, that he's telling her essentially to make peace with her mother. And listen, if Bronwyn's mother is not sick and this man is just telling her whatever, he does need to be shunned and shamed. Y'all, I'm not even gonna hold you. This reader didn't give me the best vibes. Like, I would never get a reading from this person. I just was not feeling the energy. I also don't feel like it's your business as a spiritual, intuitive person or whatever to tell somebody that they mammy is about to die. Like, I feel like that's crazy. I feel like you need to figure out a different way to deliver information to people, and you need to figure out what your boundaries are. Like, this really bothered me, and maybe I need to think about it more. Maybe I need to process why it bothered me so much, but I did not like him delivering that information to Bronwyn. That's not his business to tell. That's the doctor's business to tell. That's for, you know, ugh. And then in this forum on TV, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, mm-mm, mm-mm. So Angie is throwing her black cards down on the table like the big joker in spades after Lisa accused her of using somebody else's credit card.
Where'd you see we're going? Iowa? Excluding the ice, everything I have on is at least a band.
You know how when you play in spades, those of you who play spades or you play dominoes, and you just, you throwing shit down on the table. That's what Angie was giving. I said, Angie, what is you doing, girl? So she's slamming it on the table, and they're bouncing off of the table onto the floor, and Mary is picking them up, and Mary is getting annoyed. She is visibly annoyed at this point, and she's like, Angie, you need to stop this. Put your stuff back in your purse. Now, Angie stood up, and she said that she was going to pull Lisa's ears farther back than her facelift. I didn't really like that because we're not going to be repeating no reads, mama. We're not repeating no reads around here. But then when she told Lisa that her face looked like it had been in a wind tunnel, I said, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. No recycled reads, okay? Angie, this was just not your best moment. It wasn't a shining moment for Angie. I think she really allowed Lisa to get her riled up, and I don't know why Lisa triggers her so bad. It shouldn't be that serious. I feel like everybody knows that Lisa is a ridiculous person. I also feel like Angie has a very submissive personality just in general. I don't know if it has anything to do with growing up in a house of like 7 or 8 children. I know she has a lot of siblings, right? So it gives me that she's going to be quiet until she feels like she's backed in a corner, and then she just comes out swinging. It gives me nobody puts baby in a corner. So Bronwyn is crying because she just got the news from this man, essentially, that she needs to make peace with her mother. Speaking of mothers, one of y'all said this in the comments, and shout out to you, but this show does deal with a lot of mother wounds. I think we did speak to that a little bit last season. It's interesting. Britney is creating this wound with her mother. Whitney Rose clearly has one. Mary definitely has one. It's an ongoing theme and thread on this show in particular. So shout out to you for waking that up again. So we flash to the tarot card reader, and Lisa is getting her reading, and he starts telling her that she and her husband need to communicate again and that they are on different paths. And Lisa is just crying and breaking down. And I guess I didn't realize to what extent Lisa and John were really going through it at this time. Lisa says she feels like she is alone a lot of the times, and I'm like, wow, I never would have thought that of her and John, because in my mind, just based on appearances, they always seem to be a united front. Heather tells Angie, listen, when Lisa was doing her dirt, you were right there with her, and she's right. She's right. Listen, she's 100% on that. And Mary reinforces it. They're not wrong at all. Because, Angie, why didn't you say anything before? It just feels like on Mad Day, you want to air all the shit out. And how long ago was this? Was this years ago that now you want to bring this up? And it's like, Angie, girl, I can't even take up for you on this one. So Terrence reads Angie about her business. Apparently she's going to be starting a sunglass line, which I think is a really good idea. A good avenue for her to go down, because I always loved her sunglass selection. I feel like she wears really fierce shades. Speaking of fierce shades, Lisa had on a badass pair this episode. They were kind of like square frame. They had like a cut in them. It was like a great neutral color. I just loved it. So Terrence also mentioned something about a horse. He said that there's a horse and something about June. Is there a horse around? And she's like, oh yeah, well, Electra rides horses. And he says, oh, there might be an injury with a horse, so let's just put a pin in that. While Terrence is giving Meredith her reading, in walks Angie to go get the box that she put under the table, and she kind of interrupts them while he's talking about, not trusting a certain friend and going with your gut, and she's like, interesting. Anyway, so in the bin was books, a horse that Lisa had gotten for Electra, a little toy horse, and some Vita tequila that had never been opened. So then we have Mary giving Lisa a pep talk and telling her, just lead with positivity, be the light, be above this, and be yourself. And it was really nice to see Mary being so encouraging in that way. I really do feel like Mary low-key is in charge of the girls, and they want to listen to her, and they don't want to disappoint her. So they get back to the table, and it's all of these returned items for Lisa on her chair. So eventually, Lisa just gets up and leaves. Angie and everybody is still at the table, and Angie is saying that she won't be bullied. She starts crying, and I'm like, Angie, like, what is the situation for real? Like, why does this woman have you so deeply touched in your spirit? Anyway, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but the horse took a tumble. I can't remember if somebody threw it down or if it just fell down on the floor, but I think, you know, some part of it broke off the leg or something. And this was probably the horse injury that Terrence was alluding to. Hopefully their real life horse doesn't end up getting hurt. So Angie gets up and she is yelling and carrying on, and Mary is trying to calm her down, and Angie is still getting riled up, and Mary is just getting so irritated because she's like, you need to stop this. She's like, you're stronger than this. You're better than this. And Angie is pointing to everybody in the room, and she's saying, you went back to Lisa. You went back to Lisa. And she points to Mary and said, you went back to her too. And Angie, if we're going to go there about who went back to Lisa, you definitely went back to her too. Weren't y'all just good? I thought y'all got back good last season. So how is it that, child, it be too many little infractions, too many little fights for me to remember, oh, she said this. It be petty stuff too that I'm just like, oh my Lord. I do think that Lisa is puffed up to be that girl in this community. And I think Angie really feels like she's that girl, and she doesn't like maybe how much attention Lisa is getting. Now, I can understand her feeling some type of way because Lisa got the Kerastase Thermatique deal over her. She's the licensed cosmetologist. She has all of the salons. So it would be like, why didn't you pick me? So I honestly understand her feeling some type of way. But when your friends are doing things and they have wins and successes, it does make you look like a hater. Anyway, like I was saying, Angie is pointing at everybody in the room saying, you've gone back to Lisa, you've gone back, you've gone back. And Mary is like, what did you just say to me? And Angie's like, you've gone back. And Mary is like, oh, I'm done with you. And she walks off. She saunters right out the building. And I understand why Mary got up out of there, because if I'm trying to calm you down and you still going on and on about some shit that everybody is telling you, girl, this really holds no weight. I can't tell somebody like what to be mad at and when to stop, but it's like, she already left the building, mama, and you still carrying on? You gotta stop. By the way, Lisa mentioned something about a soup man, and I didn't really know what that meant. Was it a Seinfeld reference? I don't know, but Angie brought that up again, and I don't know if it has any real significance. Is Lisa trying to start a rumor, or is there some truth to this, that she's kind of like twisting something and bringing something to the light? We don't really know. So at the end of it all, Jared calls Britney again, and she's like, are you telling people that you're paying my bills? Again, I don't like a grown-ass motherfucking man that don't know how to play his position. I feel like there are a few things worse than that. You want to link at people's house and get motherfucking sassy, and I don't mean that in a derogatory, how you doing kind of sense. I mean in the very literal sense. Some of these men are sassy. It is sassy behavior to link up with another man and tell him that, oh, she's just using me for vacation. Excuse me? When you're talking to a real man or real nigga, that conversation would never fly. So I don't even know why Justin was entertaining your ass, letting you sit up and talk that hot shit. Using you for what? You probably got 70 cents to your motherfucking name. So anyway, Bronwyn hangs up the phone, bangs on his ass. Bronwyn said, listen, if it's a situation of gold digging, which I've been accused of many, many times, you can do much better than that one. I said, come on, Bronwyn. I'm not going to sit around, you know, coming up off the coochie. She probably cooking for him. She, you know, all of this other shit, all that domestic shit that niggas love. And then you complaining about having to spend some motherfucking money on me? I think not.
It's an evil world we live in.
That's not how this works. Know your role and play your motherfucking position. Hello? Anyway, y'all, that was the episode. Go ahead and get down in the comments with me. You already know that I want to hear from you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button on your way out. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting. And I will see y'all for the next one. Peace.